everyone, and welcome back to another episode. This one's going to be short today, but it's going to be jam-packed full with tips and tricks, specifically on how you can use AI to leverage and get more productive team meetings. If you're like me, you spend a lot of time making sure that your team meetings are productive, that people aren't falling asleep, and no matter how hard you try, sometimes it is just impossible, right? Team meetings are kind of boring. They're not productive. People are going off on tangents, and one thing that I do is I try to build things on each other. So, for example, when we have our weekly project review meetings, the ultimate goal is to see, okay, what got done last week that said was going to be done and what is scheduled this week? Are we on track? Are we off track? We discuss to-dos. If the team needs help with anything, is there any blockers that they ran into? And I discovered this really cool AI tool that I want to share with you real quick and show you how we're leveraging this in team meetings to save me a ton of time and build accountability in the team meetings, all without me doing a little bit of work. You're not going to miss this. But before we jump in, if you get value from these episodes, do me a favor. Go to Apple, iTunes, scroll down, leave us a review. Let us know what you think. It bumps us up in the algorithm and ultimately lets us bring you more great content like this. So please take a second to leave a review and then share this episode with your friends and family. Okay, so I discovered this tool called fireflies.ai. It's an artificial intelligence that records your meetings and transcribes everything. Then it organizes that information into a summary. It calls it chapters, and then it creates a to-do list at the very bottom. I was blown away by this. Not only can it transcribe everything, organize it, and then summarize it, but it comes with its own chat bot called, I'm just going to pull it up right here if you happen to be watching this, called Ask Fred. Ask Fred is basically ChatGPT for your conversation that you just had in the meeting. So it can search and organize bits and pieces of information that is in the meeting. And it is super, super cool. So one, the way I leverage this, what I had to do is we use Slack to communicate on each project. So imagine having literally 45 different tabs, and we got to go through one after each because we have to go through each individual address. And then we need an update on it. What happened last week? What's happening this week? Do you have any blockers? Is anything preventing you from getting anything done? Do you need any help from the team? And I have to sit here and I have to write in each one or have the team update it every single week. It takes a lot of time filling out this information so that we have something to build on the next meeting, because you have to be able to look back historically and see progress. Otherwise, you're not making progress. So if you can't look back historically and see what your notes are, see where you're at on the schedule, and overlay what's been happening in your notes during the project review meeting each week with the Gantt chart that you've built with the schedule, then you're going to fall off track and you're not going to have control of your projects. Your projects are basically going to control you. So what I love about this is this AI tool knows who is speaking. If the team has their names on there, it'll literally say Michael. And then below it, if I answer him, it'll say Brandon. And so there's actually a transcript. I'm looking at the very beginning of our conversation, and literally it says, "Hey, how are you? Good morning. All right, I'm good." And then it goes like literally, it's like us having a conversation. You can scroll through the entire conversation. Now, I don't want to do that because it was a 45-minute conversation. I don't have time to scroll through all of that. But what's interesting is it put like an AI summary up here, and then it has an outline at the bottom and like action items. I thought this was super cool. And I took a lot of information based on what this spit out. And now I'm going to run my next meeting using very special vocabulary because I now know how this AI works and how it organizes information. And I've realized that I can get a really detailed summary of this without having to write anything. So let me show you what I mean. So after the whole the meeting is transcribed, then you can go up to this Ask Fred tool, and I can literally ask it to say, what do we have to do on 2026 Beaver Ridge? and it'll actually spit out the information. I asked it to do a itemized to-do list on Old Nashville Highway, and boom, it literally says, speaker 3 says Old Nashville Highway, and then it has a timestamp that you can click and actually listen to what that person said. Speaker 5 says, I've got them out and I'm starting my review, making my list and sending it out for bids. All right, now today I'll start be working on that through the week, getting them all backed up together. He's talking about the bids that we're sending out for this project. This is so cool. Lights and stop signs have been installed. The invoice has been turned in for the street lights and other items. So, and then it gives you a little summary. So now that I know the specific prompts that it's looking for, my conversation in the team meetings is going to go something like this. Okay, we're about to start 2026 Beaver Ridge. What happened last week? What progress was made? I'll probably use progress. What progress was made last week on 2026 Beaver Ridge? And then I'll let the person talk. And then I'll say, what is scheduled this week for 2026 Beaver Ridge? And then afterwards, I'll ask something like, do you have anything blocking progress for 2026 Beaver Ridge? So now that I've got that actual language in the conversation, I can go type into Ask Fred, hey, what was scheduled last week for 2026 Beaver Ridge? Or what is scheduled, what progress was made? And it'll spit that information out. The way I want to do this, and I'm still brainstorming how to properly take this down, but essentially what I want it to do is I asked it to itemize a to-do list for 1220 Taylortown, and I wanted to spit out all of the different to-do items or the itemizations, the highlights of that conversation. And so now we can very easily just go revisit it on our call next week. We can do a screen share. If someone's like, I didn't say that would be done, it literally has timestamps that you can click on per speaker. So if Brandon says that something was supposed to get done that week and it's now the week following, and I'm like, I never said I'd do that. I actually go click the little thing and get the actual conversation, because it recorded everything. I thought that this is super cool. So there's no more subjectivity, or I didn't do this, or I didn't say that. It's all here. And that's what I love about this tool is it provides the accountability, and it's writing all this down for you. I don't have to go through and write notes every single week for 45 projects. Holy cow. Do you know how much time that takes? And the meetings are shorter because they're not waiting on me to finish typing stuff. I'm not asking them, okay, hang on, say that again. What'd you say? You said plumbing's coming, yada, yada. So it literally, meetings are usually like an hour and a half, 2 hours. This one was 45 minutes. I didn't have to take any notes at all. This was fantastic. So very, very cool. It records the whole conversation. It you can actually break it down by speaker too, so it tells you what percentage of the time in the meeting each speaker spoke for. So you can basically see like who's not contributing, I guess. But I thought this was cool. But you can break it down by their conversation. So I can just go click on speaker 3 or Brandon's conversation, and it pulls up every single transcript that I basically said through the whole call. So I thought this was super cool as well. And I've got it set where as soon as the call ends, it sends this out to everybody who received a Google invite to the call. So the whole team basically got this transcript, and so they can go back to and they can use it. So I'm still playing around with it, but I've realized that the voice prompts, the way you speak is very important with this AI tool. So I'll be being very careful with my words next week. And I want to see if it's able to pull out the information I want with just one prompt in it. So stay tuned. This is going to be super cool. I am officially excited about AI. We'll see y'all next time.